Hi, I'm Barbara McRae.
And I'm Bob Spinozzi.
And this is Littleton Common. Don't we look political?
You saw it first. The first woman president of the United States, right here.
Right. Okay. Well, there is something coming up pretty soon.
Sure,
that we want to
absolutely.
talk about.
Yep, town meeting. As everyone knows, historically, town meeting would be on a Monday, and then the elections would follow Saturday. But this year, we've broken it up. Town meeting itself is on Saturday, May 5th, and the elections and then the 13 ballot questions follow on Saturday, May 12th.
Oh, okay. So they have switched it around a little bit.
Yeah.
I do want to mention that the seniors who, live in, I have to check this, Pine Tree Park and Littleton Green, if you do want to vote, then we do have the Littleton limo coming to pick you up at 9 o'clock on Saturday, the 12th. So that's Littleton Green and Pine Tree Park, 9 o'clock in the morning. The seniors who want to vote, the van will be there, but you have to call the office to reserve a seat. And Mill Pond will have a chance to leave at 9:30 that morning so that they can vote. So don't give us any excuses, right?
Correct.
We're sending the cars, the limos, to pick you up and vote. And it's very important, and the seniors, I think, are very important as far as voting is concerned, because we have a lot of them, so they should be there.
So you do make it, please.
Yep.
Now, Alzheimer's has been in the news big time lately.
Yeah.
And you have a feature on that, I believe.
I do. Dr. Jelanis came, and she's from Harvard. Not Harvard the school, but Harvard the town. And she talked to us about Alzheimer's. I thought she had some really interesting things to say, so I hope that our audience will pay attention.
Okay. Look forward to that for sure.
Good. Well, I guess I better get started then.
Very good.
All right.
And congratulations on being the first woman president of the United States.
Oh, did you want a job? I mean, I know you.
Vice president? Is there an opening there?
There might be something. I don't know. Vice president might have to go to someone else we all know and love. But I'll find something for you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. I do want to apologize for one thing. Just by old habit, I called our Littleton Council on Aging the Littleton Limo, but it is the Littleton Council on Aging van that you should be looking for. So pardon me for that one. Now listen, don't forget to check your senior broadcaster for news and activities that the Council on Aging has for you. If you're new to town, give us a call and let us know that you're not getting one. But in this newsletter, you will find out what we're doing and also phone numbers that you might need for other things. But, we're trying to make sure everything is there for you. If you have something you'd like in the newsletter, then give us a call and we'll try to slip it in there. There's also a menu from our senior diner, so that if you're wondering what we're having for the month of May, check your senior broadcaster and you'll find the menu there, and you might find some days that you really want to come or to bring a friend. The Council on Aging and the Friends of the Council on Aging need you. I recently heard stories about other councils that were getting wonderful things for their seniors and how they've been reading that we are getting less. So why is that? Don't we really care about our seniors? Do you care? A handful of volunteers do all they can, and we need your support too. Meals on Wheels, the outreach program, teaching programs, and our Council on our Council on Aging and our Friends of the Council on Aging need members for their boards. So why don't you call us or come in for a visit and see what we're doing? Maybe you'll know how we can do something better for the Council on Aging, or you can maybe even compliment us on what we're doing now. But we do need you. We need your input. So I know you're out there. Call us at 952-2362 and come in and see us. Please be a volunteer for your senior town people. Some programs that might suit you are mahjong, Scrabble, art classes, exercise, yoga, Tai Chi, I should say, and we have line dancing. And speaking of dancing, after watching Dancing with the Stars, we thought maybe it would be fun to have a ballroom dancing class. How do you feel about that? Would you be interested in coming to a ballroom dancing class? Now, we're not saying that you're going to dance like the stars, but you could feel that way. So give us a call again at 952-2362 so that we'll know how many of you are really interested in a ballroom dancing class. I think it would be such fun, don't you? We're also working on trips, and the first trip is on May 22nd. It's the Beantown Trolley, and that's going to be $54 per person. And lunch is going to be at the Union Oyster House. So that sounds like a really fun day, a tour on the Beantown Trolley. June 29th, we are putting together a day to see the tall ships. You have to call Mary Eichler to see if you are able to go on these trips, because they might be full already, but if they're not, she'll gladly put your name down and sign up early, please. But call her, because you have to sign up and pay for your trip at that time. And again, it's our office at 952-2362. Keep that number in mind, because we're always using that. We also have a Book of the Month Club. You should come in and meet with this group, because they really have a good time. They're nice people. They enjoy reading. They enjoy talking about it. And Priscilla Lehman is here, and she's going to tell you more about that.
Hello, my name is Priscilla Lehman, and I run the book club every month. We meet in the all-purpose room at 10 o'clock in the morning. The name of the book is The Weight of Water, written by Anita Shreve. Come and join us. We'd love to have you.
Thank you very much, Priscilla. We have a big event coming up at noon on Saturday, May 12th at the Littleton High School. It's the annual Country Music Awards show that's put together by Don and Darlene Kochu of Pepperell. Awards will be presented, and the winners will perform. So try and make it if you can. Tickets will be available at the door, but also for more information on that, you can call 508-335-7979. Now, there's another awards show on a much, much larger stage, and it's to honor our country's military heroes from across the generations. The Memorial Day Parade on Monday, May 28th. And to talk about that is Town Veterans Agent and retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Alan McRae.
Hi, I'm Alan McRae, and I'm the Veterans Agent here in Littleton. I want to remind everybody that on Monday, the 28th of May, Memorial Day is coming up, and it's also time for our annual parade. If you're a veteran here in Littleton, I invite you to join our marching unit of veterans. If you can't march but you still want to participate, if you'll give me a call, I'll see if I can get you a ride. The American Legion Post 249 always provides the parade with a color guard and a firing squad. If you're a veteran with a uniform and would like to volunteer for one of these units, again, please call me at my office. The number is 978-952-2325. The parade will start from Donlands at 9:30. We'll join up together there at 9 o'clock, although. So we'll be there at 9. We'll leave at 9:30, and the parade route will take us past all the veterans' memorials here in Littleton, and we'll end up at the West Lawn Cemetery, where the main ceremony will take place. I encourage all Littleton residents to come out to the parade and join in the celebration of the sacrifices made for us and our liberty by veterans of Littleton who are no longer with us. Additionally, if you're a veteran in need of services or or need some information, my office hours are 9 a.m. to noon on Monday and also on Thursday. You can also reach me on my answering machine. The number again is 978-952-2325. If you have an emergency, give me a call and we can make an appointment for another time. Before I close, I would just like to ask you to do something for me. I'd like you to send a card or a letter to one of our wounded warriors. I know it would make their whole day, it would lift their spirits, and it would certainly lift yours. You can send them to the address that you see on your screen right now, but I'll tell you, it's a recovering American soldier, care of the Walter Reed Army Medical Center, 6900 Georgia Avenue Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20307. If you would do that, I know that it would be much appreciated. Thank you.
There's no Explorers Club this month. We're sorry about that, but May is a very busy month, and we decided to just kind of let that go. But we will be back in June, so don't go away. Remember us. They had a really fun time the other day because they went to the Scotch Pine Farm restaurant, and I understand that that has changed around a little bit, but they said it was a great time. So in June, we'll have a special surprise for you too that we know that you'll enjoy. The Senior Citizens Club meeting is May 21st at the Senior Diner, and they're really looking for you to join them, so give them a try also. Call Mary Eichler, and her number is 486-0725. She'd be glad to hear from you, and she'll invite you to the meeting. The ladies' breakfast is May 10th, and that's 8 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the morning, and that's at the Senior Diner on Shattuck Street. Wonderful breakfast, wonderful company, and great, cute little guys that are serving these ladies, so make sure that you're there. The men's breakfast is May 16th, and that's 7:30 in the morning until 9, and they really enjoyed their time, and we've got some cute little ladies that are serving these guys. So if you don't come, you're missing the fun, let me tell you. We moved the Shine officer into a private office. Now he can be found near the Veterans Office, and that is in the long hall between the Council on Aging and the town offices. So you'll find this cute little office in there, and the Shine officer will be there, but there's also going to be, when it's tax time, we're going to have our tax man there. There's a lot more privacy here, so you'll see a sign in the hall when it's the Shine officer, the podiatrist, and when it's time for the tax man to come. So remember that. The Country Gardeners. I want to tell you about the Country Gardeners again. I've been mentioning them lately because they're very, very busy. And now they're busy getting ready for their plant sale. And that's going to be on May 12th. It's on May 12th. It'll be 8:30 in the morning until 2:30 in the afternoon. And I understand that they have some wonderful things this year and a lot of surprises. And remember, Mother's Day. So you can go there and buy a nice little gift for Mother. Don't forget Mother's Day, because that's that weekend also. And Sue Cummings and her committee have been talking this up, and they told me that they have some items that are going to be on the Common before the sale. And by the way, the sale is on the Common on May 12th. So try to go to that. Speaking of gardening, by the way, we did talk about tetanus shots the other day because all of us gardeners dig into that dirt. We hit, sometimes we find nails, sometimes we find metal objects, or just the dirt itself, the bugs, the worms, everything. And if you get a little cut, you can really get a terrible infection. So please get your tetanus shot if you're planning on, well, you should have a tetanus shot anyway, but if you're planning on gardening, get that tetanus shot so you don't have to run to the hospital with a swollen hand or foot or whatever because you had an injury. The Congregational Church is having a big deal on May 26th for the family. It's a potluck dinner. So bring your favorite side dish and or dessert and your whole family and spend an evening getting to know others in your community. The main dish and drinks will be provided. Everyone is welcome, regardless of the shape or size of your family. This is at the Parish Hall on 330 King Street, and that will be at 5 p.m. on Saturday, May 26th. They have movies and toys for the kids, and they just want you to have a fun, full fellowship day. So remember, that's the Congregational Church, and if you want any more information from them, you can call 486-3245. Indian Hill has a wonderful month ready for you. I'm not going to give you all of the activities going on there, but there are a couple that you know you're going to be interested in. And of course, one of them is box lunch, as always. That's a wonderful day. And that is going to be a classical program with flutist Eileen Yerson and guitarist Jamie Dunphy. That's Thursday, May 17th at noon. And this is the Bring Your Lunch Bunch. So do this at the Box Lunch Concert. The Orchestra of Indian Hill, Spring Pops, celebrates Mother's Day with a fabulous all-Gershwin concert. That is going to be May 13th at 3 p.m. at the Littleton High School Performing Arts Center. Please realize that Mother's Day is coming. This might be a little gift, another gift. You can go to the plant sale on Saturday. You can go to the concert on... Boy, she would be so happy that you thought of all these great things for her to do. You do have to buy tickets for this concert, and there are reserved seating group rates available. Call 486-0540 for more information, and you can get, I believe, tickets through them. And of course, the Red Hat Society, we don't want to forget about them. We haven't mentioned them lately, and I did check on them, and they're very, very busy. In fact, they're really a great social group if you want to be with other women and do some fun things. They actually had Greek dance lessons last month, and then they attended There Goes the Ball game, I believe. That was in April. And in May, they're going to have a walking tour of Concord's historical places. So maybe you want to be a part of the society. Why don't you give them a call and check on it? But they do seem to have a great, great time. Don't forget the art show we talked about last month. That's the 11th Annual Senior Citizens Artistic Interpretation of the State House Holiday Card Contest. And if you haven't heard about it, you can find out about it through the Council on Aging. They have the sheets for you to sign and to fill out and to send in. So if you're an artist and you're interested in this, call the Council on Aging, 952-2362, and find out about the art show. We really would love to see a lot of artists from Littleton participate in this. Now, don't also forget the thrift shop, because the thrift shop is full of summer sunshine right now. We've been enjoying the customers who have been coming in and buying and buying and buying our beautiful selection of summer clothes. Really, such a deal we have for you. We have wonderful things for summer. You will be a satisfied customer, because we have been hearing a lot of good things about this place. And actually, it's so busy that you'd better get in there fast, because they're coming in to buy all the good stuff. Remember, we're open from 10 to 3, Monday through Friday. And we're looking for you, and we're, really happy to have all of you as our customers. I want to thank you for joining us, and until next time, don't forget to hug a senior. This month, we're happy to introduce you to Dr. Deborah Gelinas. And Dr. Gelinas is a neurologist. But this month, our subject is Alzheimer's, the big A. We have the big C, and we have the big A. And right now, this is a subject that probably is near and dear to so many of us because it seems like, I don't know the numbers, but maybe 1 out of 3, 6, 10 people have someone in the family or know someone who has Alzheimer's. And so I think that today I have a list of questions because my mother has Alzheimer's, and I feel like I'd like to know a little more about it. So Mother started with Alzheimer's, or I think it's Alzheimer's, because someone told me that at 90 years old she probably had dementia and not Alzheimer's. I don't know the difference, but and she still remembers me, but I'm assuming that it is. Can you be like any age and get it?
You can be fairly young when you get Alzheimer's disease. The patients or the people who get Alzheimer's when they're quite young usually have a genetic abnormality. So for instance, trisomy 21, Down syndrome, they tend to get Alzheimer's at a fairly young age. There are some autosomal dominant, meaning it doesn't skip a generation, mutations which give rise to Alzheimer's in the 40s or 50s. But generally, we think of Alzheimer's as a disease of the aging brain.
Oh, okay. So then, even at 90, 93, whatever, she still
Could have Alzheimer's. Yes.
Why say dementia? I mean, what is really the difference?
Dementia is a loss of a previously attained level of intellectual functioning. So that in a very general way, you could have dementia if you had Parkinson's disease and some cognitive involvement. So not everyone with Parkinson's disease will have any degree of dementia, but some patients with Parkinson's will. There are some forms of Lou Gehrig's disease that will have dementia associated. And these types of dementia are different. They're different in terms of how they present. They're different in terms of the symptoms, the behavior, and the type of memory deficit.
Oh, okay. So, I know that, sometimes we tease about it. Oh, I think I'm getting Alzheimer's, and actually it's kind of a scary thing. I mean, we can tease and, fool about it, but actually we're quite frightened about getting it, and especially if someone in your family might have it. But what should we do if we suspect that someone in the family does have Alzheimer's and, maybe they should be checked?
Well, what I find to be the most helpful way of presenting it and thinking about it is Alzheimer's is a disease where you have excessive aging of the brain. So the way I encourage people to think about it is, let's see what we can do to slow down the aging of your brain. Just the way you would do if you thought that you had excessive wear and tear in your heart or any other organ. So that although maybe 60% of Alzheimer's disease is being caused by a variety of genetic factors that we don't have a lot of control over, including even things like aging that we don't have control over except to die young, which isn't a very good control. 40% is really influenced by environmental factors and behavioral patterns. So that the key, in my opinion, and actually not just my opinion, but in the opinion of specialists, is that early identification is ideal. Because the drugs that we have today are only going to work on neurons that are present in the brain. So that if you are very, very advanced in Alzheimer's disease, you'll have less effect of the drugs that are available. In addition, if you're having some memory loss, often intervention with checking blood pressure, cholesterol, getting better control over diabetes, better control over hypo or hyperthyroidism, better sleep better food and nutrition, more exercise, and more social involvement, all of these factors can actually slow down the progression of memory loss and push off the diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease. So there's really benefit in seeking an early assessment of your cognitive status.
Right, and so many times too I hear now, oh, we're doing Scrabble or we're doing, word games so that our mind will be stronger. And I just wonder, it does seem to help?
Well, a very interesting epidemiologic study came out recently which showed that families that watch a lot of television have a higher incidence of Alzheimer's disease, and families that play more board and card games have a lower incidence.
Yeah.
So that we know that stimulating the brain is definitely helpful. More important still is probably having a very enriched, stimulating environment when the brain is developing.
Oh,
because at that point we have a lot of plasticity of the brain, which means the brain has a lot of forgiveness and a lot of ability to make extra connections. And if we think of Alzheimer's disease as a progressive loss of connections from one neuron to the next neuron, then it would go to figure that if you have many neuronal connections, then you have more duplication, more forgiveness, more what we call reserve, neuronal reserve. So that always stimulating the brain is a good idea.
Well, where should we go if we wanted to be checked?
I think the reasonable first place to go is to your family physician. The family physician will often check for vitamin deficiencies, thyroid abnormalities, general health problems that can give rise to memory problems. And then if the family physician feels that there's more of a question, that physician may refer to a psychiatrist or a gerontologist or a neurologist. I think that if you're convinced that there's a problem and feeling that your family physician isn't really giving it the attention that you wish it would be given, then it's reasonable to ask for a specialty referral. But because Alzheimer's is really so very common, and if you look at the numbers of patients who are affected by Alzheimer's, the older we get, the more the number just drastically increases, so that with every 5 years of advanced age after the age of 65, the number of patients or people with Alzheimer's disease doubles. So really by age 80, 85, you're looking at maybe 40% of the population that would have Alzheimer's. So it is common, and because it's common, family physicians and primary care physicians are usually very skilled at recognizing and dealing with it.
Well, when should a caregiver look into a home for professional care?
I most often find that caregivers probably need to think in terms of, when do I need to call in outside help? So it may not be that you do nothing and then all of a sudden you look for placement.
Right.
Really what it is that you need to, at every step of the way, try to make sure that you are managing that person's memory loss well. In reality, people don't end up in an institution because they have an inability to remember a grocery list. So it's not really memory problems that will lead a family to decide that a loved one has to go to an institution. It's usually behavioral problems that really tax the family's ability to keep coping.
Yes.
So these issues become a progressive loss of activities of daily living. So a progressive loss of the ability to clothe oneself, to dress, to shower, to feed oneself, to get to the bathroom on time. These are problems that can really wear down a family and get to the point where the family might need to consider some form of assisted living. In addition, things to consider are problem behaviors that can really endanger the safety of the individual who's affected with Alzheimer's. So that, for instance, some Alzheimer's patients have a lot of excessive physical energy and wake up and start saying, you know, I want to go. And they may walk out the door and start on a long hike in the middle of the night.
Yes.
Or another type of way in which behavior can become involved is some patients, because they are not perceiving the real world accurately, they will start to misperceive, and they may have hallucinations, and the hallucinations may be friendly hallucinations. They may feel that they're having wonderful conversations with their own mother or with deceased siblings. And these usually won't be very problematic, but they may have hallucinations that are fearful to them and that really cause them to do things that are unsafe. And then that's another reason why sometimes a family has to look into some form of assisted living for their loved one.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think we started noticing the difference in my mother when she was driving from, I mean, a mile away. She was to a store, and she passed it and kept going, and she was like a few miles away when she realized that she needed to come back. That was like just a minor thing. And then we noticed she, in the afternoon after 4 o'clock, because someone told me it was a sundowner syndrome, she would walk into the room and be angry with me for one reason or another. Maybe, where's my checkbook? What have you done with it? And you're saying, not knowing what's happening at first, you're wondering, what just happened? I don't understand this. And then, you know, I remember one of the saddest days for me was when it started was she loved to go to Foxwoods with the seniors. And she wanted to go that week. And one of the friends that she used to go with wasn't going. And I really felt like Mother needed someone with her when I was getting her ready. And I actually found myself getting her ready to go, like putting on her little scarf and her little money bag, you know, purse, and driving her to where the bus was. And I looked up at the window, and one of the ladies there said, "Don't worry, we'll take care of her," knowing that recently she had been forgetting things. And I just sat in my car and cried, because this was it was almost like taking my little child and putting them on a bus for the first time to send them someplace. And I just was taken aback by it, and then realized something needed to be done. And after that, she fell a couple of times, and then we started looking into some place where she could have assisted living first, because she was okay, and then went on, after she broke her hip, it came to the next level. But she's in a wheelchair, but she's healthy, God bless her, she's very healthy. But I also find that I know people who take care of their loved ones and, you know, feel that they need to take them home and take care of them, and they try their best, but they're the ones that wear out. And I think part of that is guilt. I mean, I know that I felt guilty bringing Mother to another place to live after she had lived with us for 20 years.
I think that it's natural for families to want to maintain a lifestyle that the person with Alzheimer's has enjoyed all their lives.
Yes.
And so they usually do try to make some sort of arrangement so that that person can keep on living in their home. There is some guilt involved, and I think in making that final decision. But again, I can't stress enough that it's so individual. For some patients who have Alzheimer's, so long as they're really still able to sort of dress and eat and be pleasant, it might work out well in the home, especially if the home isn't a very busy home.
Right.
If the home has a lot of young children and a lot of coming and going, it's really a distressful environment for the elderly person. It's too much of a demand of attention and of shifting the focus all the time.
Right.
And when you mentioned the difficulty your mother had with going to Foxwoods, it is natural. I mean, when I think of putting myself in an unfamiliar environment, I don't feel as comfortable as I did at age 18 when I went off to college in Canada.
Yeah.
But the same is true for elderly people, that sometimes when you put an elderly person in a very unfamiliar environment, you'll actually uncover a level of infantilism or
Yeah.
disability
Yeah.
that isn't present when they're in their common, comfortable environment.
Right.
And we see this a lot in patients who get hospitalized because of pneumonia or urinary tract infection. And the family will sometimes be shocked and say, but you know, she was doing well at home. I think this is brand new.
Yes.
But when you do a very close history taking with the family, you realize it's not brand new. Actually, they were helping mom with the checkbook for a while.
Yeah.
Mom was making less commitments, going out less frequently,
Right.
tending to be a little bit more concerned about going out with a familiar person. So that there were signs that mom was having more difficulties coping. But those things became much more apparent under an unfamiliar circumstance.
Right.
And also they become more apparent when the person is tired or ill or something else has changed.
Right, yeah. I've seen all of that. Everything you're saying, it's so true. People need to watch these things. And now I treat my mom like she's my child. And I enjoy what she has to say, even though it doesn't make sense. It's kind of cute, you know what I mean? So I just listen and agree a lot or disagree.
No, it's actually what you said is very important, that you listen and you agree a lot. It's really very important, and families sometimes don't understand that you really shouldn't challenge a patient who's having a memory problem because they're really trying very hard to put pieces together in a way that makes some sense.
Right.
And so even if they're making up things, they're making up things that they think are reasonable. So if a piece of jewelry is lost, it's reasonable that maybe someone stole it.
Yes.
And so rather than saying, you know, I've gone over this with you a million times, that's not the case, it's really easier to say, well, let's look for it together.
Yes.
Let's and just sort of go around the problem rather than trying to directly confront, which makes everybody feel bad.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get you any place. I feel that, you know, she seems pretty happy if I'm saying, oh, yeah. She'll say that my dad stopped by, and my father has been gone for
Exactly.
like 25 years, you know, but he stopped by. The only thing is that I keep peeking around saying, well, you know, Dad, it's okay. You don't have to show me that you're here. But sometimes she goes so far back in her life that I feel like I'm learning new things, because I really feel like what she's saying maybe really happened. And so I try to separate what she told me before and what she's telling me now. And sometimes it comes like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that. So I just let her say it. And
Well, you know, sometimes what can happen is, as a person develops more dementia, they may stop regulating their thoughts. They may stop suppressing and withholding. And so you may find lots of things. You may discover, you know, I've never enjoyed your aunt. You know, she was always a pain. And you know, this can be sort of a shocking revelation.
I've seen that too.
Similarly, patients, as they become demented, sometimes because they're less rigid often, sometimes they're more rigid, but sometimes there's less of supervision. The brain is in less of a supervision mode. So sometimes they'll become quite artistic. Sometimes they'll be able to relax more than they ever did, listen to music a little bit more than they ever did. So that there can be blessings that can sort of become uncovered.
Yes.
If you can be accepting of the process. But I don't wish to convey that one should simply accept, because there are loads of things that can be done to slow down the process.
Right.
But you know, I have never found Alzheimer's to be a depressing disease to take care of with patients. And I really think that for one thing, we have at this point 4 drugs that are commonly available with minimal side effects that really help to improve not only memory, but improve behavior and improve the ability to be independent with activities of daily living.
Oh, good.
These drugs save time for the caregiver. These drugs can postpone the time for nursing home placement by up to 22, 23 months.
Wow.
So, they're very effective. So one wants to be proactive. And at the same time, when you are doing everything that you can do, then the more you can accept, and the more that the patient who's affected can accept, and then the family. It makes it less of a miserable disease to deal with. And it sounds like you do that well with your mother.
Well, I'm having fun with her, actually, and I was surprised. I see her. My mother always had a beautiful smile. And so when she sees me, she'll smile, that smile, and it makes me feel so good. And I do have people say, well, this is short-lived and she won't remember you very long. But I don't care because I've been there when she didn't know my name or something, but when she thinks about it, she'll say to someone, this is my baby. And I go, yes, I am. As a matter of fact, I am your baby. Feels good to do that. But or my aunt came to visit. Her sister came to visit. I'm listening to what you just said, and I was laughing because my aunt came to visit, and my mother was sitting there looking at her, and just like looking at her, and she said, I don't remember you really, but you're fat.
She
My
probably was.
She was. Always, though. My mother never said it to her before.
That's what I mean about the level of inhibition being taken off.
Oh, yeah. And my aunt did laugh because I had told her, take her as fun, and she did laugh, and that was funny. And then I walked in one day with a baseball cap, and she said to me, you're attractive, but that does nothing for you. I thought, that's mom. That's mom. She does that. And the other thing that she did was, she likes to still have her hair done. Mm-hmm. She still likes nail polish. She still likes makeup. I was going to put on lipstick today, but I haven't put it on for a week. And I'm thinking, no, Mother, you're not really wearing it. And I'm thinking this, and I'm tickled that she still, it really makes me feel good because I go, she's in there.
Well,
she's in there.
The thing is, there are, especially in Alzheimer's disease, there are some memories that may be lost, and there are some aspects of the personality that may be lost. But there are others that are very intact. Mm-hmm. And there's really no predicting what will be intact, except that probably it's the area that was overlearned. So likely your mother was a very proud woman who took care of her appearance. So she probably devoted a lot of neurons to that. So she has a lot of reserve there.
I bet she did. I bet she did. Oh yeah, every night she came out with her cream that thick on her face, and good night, and you'd be, she's pure white with cream, scare you have death. So I'm thinking she still is doing that in her mind.
Yes.
She's still doing that. And I'm glad because she was a beautiful 93-year-old lady.
Yes. And when you talk about how she sometimes doesn't recognize you, even though she may not recognize you, may not say your name, she probably recognizes that you belong to her.
Yes, she does.
And often I have found that patients will come in with their daughters who are quite adult, and they'll say, oh, this is my sister.
Oh, she's
because
done that.
They're projecting themselves back to the memories that are still robust for them, and they're recognizing that you look a lot like their sister looked at that age. Oh. And so there's really that connection. And maybe the reason why she doesn't recognize her own sister is she never knew anyone that old. But sometimes they'll say, oh, you're my aunt.
Yeah.
Because there's really, it comes down to what were the richest memories that were formed.
Yes.
And what is still pulling on memory for them.
I can just, everything you're saying, I can just see in her. She talks about, my mother never worked and she didn't like to volunteer, and I like to volunteer. But I made her come and volunteer with me. She must have had a wonderful time because she talks about like she's still doing it.
Yes.
And so I said, I think she had a really good time then, and she's reliving it often. And by the way, she doesn't live in this nursing home. She works there.
Yes.
She told me that. I'm very busy today. We have a lot to do.
She probably is a delight, and she probably is contributing a lot.
Yeah, she's all over the place, and they let her go all over the place because I'm thinking of volunteering over there. Mm-hmm. And Mother's in the Show Life Care. And I'm thinking of volunteering maybe one day, I don't know, a week, a month, whatever. But I was wondering, what are things that we could do as far as entertaining these patients? You know, are there games? Do they like the old music? Should we get records? Or, you know.
What has worked well in lots of elderly communities is things that do engage them from the time when they were very much engaged in life. So that's certainly old movies, old music, perfumes or smells of home cooking. Those are all things that are very enjoyable. For your mother, if she always enjoyed being fixed up, and many women are like that, they love having their nails done. Good. You know, and every social interaction is really a great benefit to them. And so it's not as though you have to be looking at a map and saying, we're going to learn how to read a map again. But everything that you're reinforcing in terms of knowledge about people and the world, it's all going to be valuable. And so I really think the main thing is to spend time and try to see what kind of engages that group of people and then expand on that. So many adult daycare programs, for instance, will do a simplified word search, or sort of a little show of, well, what's going on in the news, and a simplified engagement process. Others will do dancing, a lot of dancing, ballroom type dancing. All of that can be very positive and very beneficial.
Okay. Well, I think that, you know, some of the people would be interested in that. A lot of these people are in wheelchairs. They're all in wheelchairs. So, you know, we're thinking of throwing a ball.
Yes. The only thing with throwing a ball is, I'm so sorry, my pager went off there.
That's fine.
The only thing with throwing a ball is that, you know, they may have vision problems and they may be slow and they may not catch it.
Oh, okay.
You know.
I was thinking of getting some old hats and bringing them there. Just for fun, you know, putting them on a rack so they could see them.
And try them on.
Yeah, try them on.
And certainly wheelchair exercises of raising the arms and maybe putting some music on and doing sort of a calisthenic in the wheelchair. That's very beneficial. It's, first of all, exercise is beneficial. Studies have shown that if you take an elderly population that have Alzheimer's disease, and one particular study, which was published by and done by Gary Small, who is a very famous Alzheimer's psychiatrist on the West Coast, showed that he took a group of elderly people who'd had the diagnosis for 2 years, and he sort of put them in the best possible circumstance, so that he gave them relaxation techniques and had them do some physical exercise and got them involved in vitamins and watching what they ate and sort of being a little bit more conscious of their figure and stuff, and actually was able to show that in a disease where people are losing function, that when he measured them out a year later, that they had gained function.
Wow.
So that engagement is really what it's about. And there's a lot that can be very positive.
Okay, well, I'll try some of those things and we'll see what happens. I mean, I just feel like they need people anyway, just to pay a little attention to them, no matter what we do. And I'm going to say I'm still happy that Mother does recognize me. That makes me smile. And I'll take it for whatever.
Well, I think that the thing to keep in mind is we are all going to have aging of the brain.
Yeah.
And if we look at the things that we can do to keep ourselves healthy mentally, we can be careful about exercise, we can be careful about diet, we can be careful of our blood pressure, our cholesterol, sleep, happiness, anxiety and depression, it looks like probably accelerate aging. So that in terms of when you said they need people, they are we.
Yeah.
They are just we a little further along. And I know that I'm going to, if I'm lucky and I live long enough, I'll have Alzheimer's. And I just hope I'm in my 90s like your mother is.
I'm thinking that. I hope that if it happens to me, you know, whatever, I hope I start when I'm 90 also, if I live that long. She's a very healthy woman, and I'm very pleased about that. It's just sad that she can't be golfing like she always liked. That was her favorite thing.
One study that was done with a group of nuns of a teaching order looked at how different people would age, and really sort of tested this particular convent and order every 6 months for signs of Alzheimer's disease. And then when the nuns passed, what they did was they donated their brains to science, which is really pretty incredible. So what they were able to determine was that the nuns who had stayed the most involved in the community, who continued teaching when they couldn't teach in a classroom anymore, who continued to give lessons in knitting to the community, who stayed positive and interactive, that they could really push off the development of Alzheimer's disease quite far. And these nuns, many of them lived to be over 100 years of age. And although they did have some memory loss, there were those who never had Alzheimer's disease. Now, when they died, it was clear on the brain studies that were done that they had the changes of Alzheimer's disease. So we define Alzheimer's disease by having really two main aspects of brain changes: amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles. Basically what that means is you accumulate dead neurons and dead proteins in the brain. And what they found was that these nuns had those changes, but that somehow they stayed engaged and involved, and they had good enough brains to begin with, and good enough health to begin with, that there was a lot of forgiveness in those aging brains. So I think that my own personal mantra is just to try to preserve what I have, and recognize that everything is going to get older. And we just aim to have all of our organs age together, so everything fails at once. That would be great.
It would be great, I know it. Oh, I thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
I feel like I learned a lot. I feel good about it, and I'm sure that we have people out here that learned something too. And I have to say that one of the times recently when I left my mother, I was leaving my mother, she looked at me, and very clearly and very warmly she said to me, "Don't forget I'm here." So I want everyone to remember your friends and your family and your loved ones, and don't forget they're here. Until next month, have a good month, and we'll see you next time.